Hello, hello, hello. This is Mr. Chime from weeklybagel.com. I am back again with another wonderful episode of the Weekly Bagel podcast. And today, on episode 8 of the Weekly Bagel podcast, we'll be discussing how to spot CraigsList rent scams. If you listened to the last episode that I did, I talked about how to spot apartment scams. As a young working class adult that is trying to get a place of your own, it is very important that you be on the look for apartment scams because nowadays this is very rampant, especially if you're using platforms where apartments are listed online and you have to do your application online or do everything online before you get to see the place. On episode 7, I elaborated more on that. If you haven't listened to it, I recommend you go listen to that on my website. Today's episode 8, I am going to talk about how to spot CraigsList rent scam. If you're trying to rent an apartment or a house or a condo or studio from CraigsList or even a room, I want you to be aware so you don't fall victim to a scam. This is because CraigsList is a platform where you can absolutely find affordable housing at the rate that you want. However, and unfortunately, scammers have been quite creative in getting on the platform and uploading a housing list where they could get some money off you without actually renting you the place. And today I am just going to talk about how you could always spot these scams because these guys are really good and I don't want you to fall a victim to this nonsense since it's quite upsetting. Now, if you're trying to find an apartment or a room for rent or studio or condos, there are thousands of them on CraigsList. And depending on what American city you are in, if you go on CraigsList website and put in your city, I'm sure you're able to find thousands of them out there. Is CraigsList safe for rent? Yes and no. Yes, in the sense that there are actually legitimate apartment complexes or rental businesses out there that are trying to rent their home to you, and you could go on there and find apartments that are within your budget. However, you have to be very careful in recognizing which of the apartment or room to let list that is authentic and the one that is fake. And what do you have to watch out for? Well, if you go on CraigsList to look for an apartment and you find a picture of a place that you like, and then you go on another section of the website and you find the same picture elsewhere posted by a different user, there is a high chance that it's fake. Now, CraigsList scam artists are known for copying other people's images and reusing it for their nefarious activities. And I would be very careful applying in such an apartment rental listing because there's a high chance that it's not legitimate, especially if there are multiple listings of the same property all over the website. It's something to watch out for. Also, if you're looking at an apartment listing and it doesn't have any address, it's just a picture telling you room to let or apartment to rent or a house to rent, and it doesn't have an address to it, we'll be very wary of that. This is because any serious rental business will put on their address there because they want you to come see the place, right? And if it's just a picture of the house, then the person that posted that probably is trying to conduct the business online and not have it traced back to them. So will not apply to any rental services online that do not post the address along with the pictures. Now, let's assume that the rental listing has the address and then the images of the house, and you like it, right? And then you contact the person that has uploaded these things, and they are in a rush to get you into the apartment. They're like, oh, come on, we will get you settled. We're not even going to run a background check on you. And if you have a credit score of 350, we don't worry about it. We take care of that. Hey, my friend, I want you to run as fast as you can. And this is why. Now, unless it's a private rental business, such as someone trying to rent out a room in the house, there is a high chance that apartment complexes, especially the big ones, would always want to run a background check on you. First thing first, they don't want a criminal living in the apartment complex. Secondly, they don't want someone that might pose a danger to other people. For instance, a pedophile living within the apartment limits. And in terms of credit check, all apartment complexes run a credit check. The reason being that they want to go through your credit history and make sure that you're not someone that owns rent. Because this is quite rampant nowadays. We are, some young adults, we rent a place without actually a job. And to get rent from them will be a very big problem because they will keep on being a bum. I'm sorry to say that. But yes, there will be a bum living in there, trashing the whole apartment, and they will not pay you rent. And you actually have to go to the court to get some papers in order to evict them. So apartment complexes are always on the lookout for people like this, and they will always run a credit or background check on you. And if you're on CraigsList looking for an apartment and the person that posted the apartment listing or a house listing or condo listing is telling you, oh, don't worry about it. I'm not going to run a credit check on you. I'm not going to do a background check on you. Just give me this money and I'll set you right in. I think I would dive further into it because I want to know what the catch is if I were you. I want to know why all these things are being waived for you when this is actually the standard protocol for most apartment rental businesses, right? So be on the lookout for things like this when you're on CraigsList looking to rent. Another thing that I should be very wary of is, besides everything being done on a rush, there is no legitimate contact, meaning the person that is trying to rent the place to you on CraigsList does not have any email or any phone call for you to call and talk to the person. They want to do everything through CraigsList messaging. And I don't know if you're familiar with the CraigsList platform. The CraigsList platform, the message is such that nothing is revealed, right? That means if you send someone a message, the email address that comes with the message is usually in random numbers or random alphanumeric characters, right? It might be KYZNA at CraigsList.com or something like that. So in a situation whereby you contact the person and the person doesn't really want to give you a kind of business number or professional email address for you guys to continue the rent application process, we'll be very wary of that. Beware of such kind of interaction because chances are this is a scam artist. Now, you may be asking or thinking, hey, what about, private landlords that just want to rent a room, CraigsList room for rent, and they don't want to show their email address or business? No, I would say don't do that because even for private or personal landlords that are trying to, rent out their rooms to, a young working class adult, they have some kind of contact other than the CraigsList messaging back and forth, right? Especially if you send them a message and then the email address they sent doesn't even make sense. I would be very, very careful about that Because chances are you're either dealing with a bot, which is a malware, or a legit scam artist. Because any person that wants to rent out their room, house, or apartment has some kind of professional email address, even if it's not professional, but some kind of legit email address or contact for you guys to continue the conversation or the process of rent application outside of the CraigsList platform. And even CraigsList will tell you there on the bottom of their website, hey, do not give out your personal information, or be wary of scam artists, anybody asking for money or such a thing that makes you think about, hey, listen, I may be dealing with a scam artist. CraigsList warns you about that, and I'm warning you too. If they don't want you to come out to see the place, they keep telling you, hey, everything is done online. This is 21st century, and we don't meet up anymore. Bullshit. Forgive my French, but bullshit. I call that bullshit. The reason being that as a young working class adult, if you're trying to get a place of your own, even if you're trying to get a CraigsList room for rent, I would recommend that before you even submit your application, go and see the place. It is very necessary you go and see the place. The reason being that you want to make sure that what they actually posted is actually what you're getting. If you go on there and there are beautiful pictures of the place, chances are it's not what it seems to be. I want you to go and check it out for yourself. Once you get there and then you see the place, I want you to look around, make sure that the sink is running, the toilet flushes, check the carpets, the edges of the carpets, make sure there are no bed bugs hiding there. That's also a very big one. Look around for roaches. I told you the story on the last episode where I went to apply for an apartment, right? And as I got there with the leasing agent and the place was opened, I went in there to look for myself, to look at the apartment myself. I found a roach. I found a dead roach on the floor, and it seems that the leasing agent saw me, looked at the roach, but out of not embarrassing the guy, I just looked away from the roach and I was looking at something else. And this guy didn't even know that from the corner of my eyes, I saw him kicked the roach under one of the couches. And to myself, I was like, wow, he's even hiding the roach. That means that this place is infested with bugs. Now, had it been that, the leasing agent came and be like, hey, I'm so sorry, we last did our pesticide like a few weeks ago. I'm sorry about the bug on the floor. I could go ahead and then order another round of pesticide. I would have been like, okay, well, this guy is being honest and, he's very sincere about the pest problem that they have. And I might even consider going for the apartment, especially since it's affordable. But in a situation where he kicked the roach under one of the couches, I was like, okay, I don't know what else this guy is hiding. So I immediately canceled applying for that apartment, even though it was affordable. Now I'm telling you, whenever you find a place on CraigsList and you're going over there to check it out for yourself, be sure to compare the pictures of what is online, what is posted on the CraigsList website, to what you're actually seeing. Because sometimes on the CraigsList apartments for rent or house for rent or rooms for rent, they tend to Photoshop the picture and make it beautiful instead of actually showing you the reality of the place you're trying to get. And that is very understandable, since they're trying to rent the place and make some money. But at the same time, you don't want to be screwed, right? You don't want a situation whereby you finally get the place and you have to share everything with roaches and bugs. Right? Now, I don't know about you, but for me, I'm a very clean guy, and things like this, they tend to bug me. And if I am paying monthly rent and I'm doing that on time, I expect to have some certain levels of comfort in my home. And if you are the same kind of person, I say go see the place, check it out for yourself, compare that with what is posted on the Craigslist website, and if there is any slight change in that, take for instance, you come into the room or the apartment and it was painted pink instead of the green that you saw on the pictures, I would just forget about that place. I would walk out. Why? Because what they posted on the Craigslist listing is very misleading, and now they're showing you something else that is different. No telling what else they are hiding, right? So you want to rent from a person or a business that is very sincere. I'm not saying they have to be 100% honest with you, but at least be very sincere about the place they're trying to rent and not trying to dump some trashy apartment on you so you could feel the burden of having to put up with a lot of nonsense for the entirety of your lease. You get what I mean? So I would be very, very wary of a Craigslist rent listing that doesn't want you to come see the place, or one that lets you come see the place and it's not really what was posted on the website. Personally, I wouldn't go further if I find that there's a sort of dishonesty going on. Now, how do you avoid Craigslist rental scams? Well, the best way of avoiding this is to always go check it out for yourself. Seeing is believing, right? I want you to be a doubting Thomas. I know, but that's gonna save you a lot of headache anyway. So be a doubting Thomas. When you see the place that you like on Craigslist, I want you to go check it out for yourself. Call the person if there's a phone number, or email the person and tell them, hey, I want to see the place before I even give you any sort of information about myself, or even try to apply. I want to see the place first. Now, if they tell you, hey, you have to apply first before seeing the place, I would cancel that right there. Why? Because there's some kind of scam being run, right? This is because normal apartment complexes or rental businesses don't have a problem with you seeing what it is that you're trying to rent. Am I right? And if they start building all these walls around the thing they're trying to rent, then that means there's something wrong. Because it doesn't cost them anything to show a potential tenant the place that they're trying to rent, right? So I would go check it out for myself. It's the best way of avoiding the rent scam. Do not give out any personal information. Do not Western Union any money. Do not cash up anything at all until you have seen the place and you have judged for yourself if this is something you want. Now, if this is something you want, then you could go ahead and proceed with the rent application. Another thing that I mentioned previously that I'm going to repeat again because it's very important is some of these Craigslist scam artists that post fake house rental places would always want you to give some kind of money, perhaps a fee. Sometimes they call it convenience fee. I don't know what the hell that is, but it's just something that they use to get money out of you. Or they will call it application fee to reserve that place for you while you go check it out. Personally, I will not give them anything. You hear me? Do not give them any single cent until you've seen the place, and if the place met your satisfaction, then you can apply. These are the two best ways to avoid Craigslist rental scams. Firstly, you go check out the place for yourself and compare that with the pictures that were posted on the Craigslist platform to make sure there's no kind of Photoshop or there's no kind of dishonesty going on. And thirdly, and secondly, I meant to say, I'm sorry. And secondly, you don't pay anything until you've seen it for yourself. Now, there's another important thing I want to talk to you about. If you go to the place and it's a big apartment complex and it's a legit rental business, and you've seen it and you've liked it, and it's time to apply, you could go ahead and fill out the form and apply. Now, if you go to the place and there's something off, take for instance, the leasing office is closed, and then it's just a guy or a woman saying, "Hey, I work for the leasing office, but we're closed today. I can still show you the place." And they take you to an apartment or a room or somewhere, and your mind is telling you, or your gut feeling is telling you, "Hey, this place is rented to someone else." And you're looking around, and you're like, "Oh, someone already lives here," and they're like, "Yeah, the person lives here, but the person is gonna move and all that." And then they're trying to get personal information from you, such as your social security, or a kind of fee from you. I would run as fast as I could from that place, because Craigslist is also notorious for renting an apartment or room that is already rented to somebody else. Not Craigslist itself that is doing this. It's unfortunately the scammers on Craigslist. So you have to be very aware of these things so you don't fall victim to it. You know what I mean? Do not give any kind of personal information. Even Craigslist platform tells you right there on the bottom of their website. You don't give out any kind of personal information that could be used to target you until you are sure that this is a legitimate business. Now, if you're going with a private landlord that owns a house that wants to rent a room out to a young working class adult, you could talk about this with your landlord. First, you ask them, "Hey, you own this place, right?" And then you do your research, and then you find out that they're actually the owner of the house, and they're trying to rent the room out. And you're making sure that they actually have the right to rent the room out, because you don't want a situation whereby they have collected your money and all that, and you're about to move in, and someone comes and be like, "Hey, listen, you're not supposed to move in here. This is already rented to somebody else." Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So you have to make sure that before you even give out any kind of personal information, that the person that you're giving out your information is actually authorized to rent the place out to you, and this is a legitimate business that will not use your information to target you. And if it's a private person, like let's say someone looking for a roommate, there's no need for them to know about your social security. There's no need for them to run a background check on you. They're not entitled to that. If they want some kind of check to make sure that you're a very good person, you guys could sit down and talk about other ways of doing that other than the person having your social security. Because if someone, say, has an apartment, say they have a 3-bedroom apartment and they want a roommate and they're trying to rent out one of the rooms to someone else, damn well they're not gonna they're not gonna waste money to run a credit check on you or a background check on you, right? And you don't want your social security number being with a stranger that you don't know anything about, right? So this is something I want you to be very aware of. That way you don't fall prey to all these scam artists on the Craigslist platform. Now, assuming that you see a listing and you find out that it's fake and it's a scam, you could always report that to the Craigslist platform, and you do this by going to the report a scam page on Craigslist. You can also, if money is already involved, say someone has already scammed money and you've met this person face to face, I recommend you going to your local law enforcement, because they are much more likely to help you out than the Craigslist platform. I mean, the Craigslist platform is going to flag the fake posting, but I mean, they're not going to get your money back, right? Because obviously on their website, on the bottom of it, they warn you about sending money to someone until you have seen the place that you're trying to get. So if you've seen this person and you've seen the place, and say you make the payment and everything, and it's time for you to move in, and there's a problem and that's stopping you from moving in, and you find out that it's a scam, I recommend going to the nearest law enforcement office and then report the incident to them, describe the person and everything, document. That's why I said, like, if you're going to be doing this kind of thing, renting apartments or rooms from Craigslist, you have to make sure there's some kind of legal documentation. That's why I said to always talk to people that have legitimate email address or contacts. So that way, if things go haywire, you are going to be able to sort it out in a very legal way, right? And if it's fraud that has happened to you, you could go to the FBI website and report the fraud. You could also go to the Federal Trade Commission, FTC, and then report the fraud there too. Be sure to always have documentation so that you can always back everything you say. That way, this scam artist is going to be investigated and caught and sent to a special place in jail or prison where they truly belong. The reason why I'm telling you this is because a lot of young working class adults tend to fall victims to these people. So you have to always be on the lookout. And this is because obviously we make our money by suffering, by going out there every day and putting in the work, working per hour and getting all this money and getting taxed. Our money is getting taxed on. So if our money is getting taxed on and the one that we bring home, we don't want anybody stealing it from us, right? You would agree with me that if you're working hard every week and you're getting paid bi-weekly, and at the end of every bi-weekly you get paid and you look at the money you worked for, you want to be able to put it where it truly belongs, right? If you're trying to get an apartment on Craigslist, you want to make sure that the person that you're going to give the money to is not going to just take the money and run away, right? That you're not going to get scammed out of your money, because that's not just only annoying but also frustrating, and it creates some kind of emotional anguish, right? When someone steals your money. So yes, report these people on Craigslist, your local law enforcement, the FBI if money is involved and it's a fraud, FTC, and this is how you protect yourself and protect others too. Because doing this kind of responsibility, you are making sure that other people do not fall victims to Craigslist rental scams. And if you do exactly all these things that I've mentioned here on this episode today, you're going to be able to spot Craigslist scammers that are posting fake apartment listing from real people that are actually trying to rent out their property. That concludes everything I want to talk to you about today about spotting Craigslist rent scams. Craigslist is a very good place to find affordable rent, but you just have to be very careful so that way you don't fall victim to scam artists. Once again, I applaud you trying to get a place of your own and continuing to be independent. This is very important in your art of living because it adds to your self-esteem. So kudos to you. Be careful out there when you're looking for your apartments so you don't fall into some kind of rent scam. And I wish you the best. I will be posting episode 9 2 weeks from now. So don't be afraid to tune in 2 weeks' time. I remain yours faithfully, Mr. Chime. Have a wonderful week ahead. Thank you.